This may come as something of a surprise to some people, but my mum and dad are here. That's not the surprising part. My mum and dad are here, and later they can tell you about how when I was a kid, I was shy. I was not just a little bit shy. I was one of those kids that adults refer to as painfully shy. And when I went to Penshurst Marist Brothers, now I don't know how many people here know much about Penshurst Marist Brothers, but there are two types of people who are the real heroes of Penshurst Marist Brothers: footballers and cricketers. And I was neither. So being a painfully shy kid who was not particularly good at cricket and not at all interested in football was not a great recipe for having a great time at school. But when I was in Year 8, we had a new teacher start up who took over the English department, and I was in the playground one day, and Mr. Everson, he comes up to me and he says, "Mrs. Morrissey," Mrs. Morrissey is the new English teacher, "Mrs. Morrissey and I have a plan for you. We've got this idea. We've got this plan for you." Now, here I am, kind of little, painfully shy, non-footballer, non-cricketer Chris, and a teacher, actually two teachers, have said they have a plan for me. It was like this kind of light just lit up in my life, and it was like God himself had kind of tapped me on the shoulder and said, "I have this plan for you." And the plan, because obviously I was one of the cool kids, was that they were starting a debating team and I should try out for the debating team, which I thought was the most ridiculous idea I had ever heard because, as I've said, I was a painfully shy 13-year-old. But anyway, two teachers telling you should try out for the debating team is pretty compelling. And so I did. I practiced and practiced and practiced, and they had the tryouts, and I got to the tryouts, they were in lunchtime. It was bloody terrible. Like, really not good at all. And the only thing I had going for me was the fact that not that many people tried out. And so I made the team. And we practiced and practiced and practiced, and we lost every single debate that year, every single debate. But then I did it again the next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and eventually I got pretty good. And eventually we started winning, and eventually we became finalists in the Catholic Schools competition, and I won Debater of the Year and Public Speaker of the Year. And fast forward 20-some years, here I am. And I often think that had that not have happened, that day in the playground where a teacher saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, my life would have been completely different, fundamentally different. I was smart, I would have done things. But the opportunity to develop a talent that was there, but I didn't necessarily see in myself, was only made possible because those teachers saw something in me and had the time and the ability and the willingness and the passion to be able to make that happen. If not for mum and dad being able to drive me to debating on Friday nights and teachers being there to keep the school open and to keep that competition going, none of those things would have happened for me, and I would have been a completely different person. So when I think about this issue for our area now, and in fact for the whole country, this is not just a question of these sort of abstract figures. As Kate has just said, 30 billion here, 30 billion there, eventually it adds up to real money. It's not just about the dollar amounts. It's about what that actually tangibly means in the lives of the young kids who are going through our schools right now. The kids who are painfully shy, or the kids who are not great readers, or the kids who don't quite get the maths equations on the first go, or the kids who've got an abiding interest in something that can be explored and can be expanded if the resources are there to do extra classes or to do different classes, different programs. And so for me, when we talk about the kind of country we want to be, when we talk about the kind of economy we want to have, when we talk about the kind of society and the kind of people we have, all of this only becomes possible when we decide to put money at that very fundamental building block of how our community works. There's no point in talking about an innovation economy or no point in saying that there's never been a greater, more exciting time to be alive if you're not prepared to put the money into schools where the best of people can be brought out.